Good afternoon, Colonel Country, and welcome to another episode of Colonel's Corner. On today's episode, we'll be looking back at Wilkes football's Week 1 win against Keystone and looking ahead to their Week 3 matchup against Misericordia. Our guest today is head coach Jon Drach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Now, Coach, let's look back to Week 1, our big win over Keystone. Defense averaged 192 total yards, 2.8 yards per play. Can you talk about some of the things that you saw from them in Week 1?
I thought they did a really good job of containing what Keystone was trying to do. They really tried to push the ball to the edge, and our corners and our secondary rallied to the ball. I thought we pretty much dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, but I thought the defensive line did a great job of holding up some of those run lanes, and it didn't give them very much. We put them in a lot of long yardage situations on third down. You can see that in their third down efficiency.
Now, what really stood out in our Week 1 game was the rushing offense. Looking at my notes, 369 total yards, 8.2 average, 5 touchdowns total, and individually, Kamal Reed, 8 rushes, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. Elijah Jules, in his first game, 13 rushes, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Can you talk about what you saw and what allowed them to be so productive?
I think that's just really a continuation of what we saw in the spring, to be honest with you. I thought Elijah and Kamal both did a fantastic job of running the football. I think we put the ball on the ground a little bit too much. I know we had the fumble at the 2-yard line, and then early in the game we actually dropped the ball and put it on the ground a couple other times as well that didn't actually get called fumbles. But I think the offensive line really set the tone up front by covering people up and moving people off the ball. That's probably our most veteran group right now on our entire team is the offensive line. So they've set the tone for us last spring and this fall and even in camp. I thought that those guys were going to be able to move us forward in the run game, and that showed evident in Week 1.
Let's talk about the passing game. There were a couple home run plays that we went for that either just missed, bounced off the receiver's hands. Mm-hmm. What do we work on to get those plays kind of more in sync and obviously help us keep defenses more off of the run game?
I think that we're able to stretch the field. I mean, some of those guys on the edge can really stretch the field, and Corey Pelzer had a nice game and had 2 touchdown receptions for the vertical passing game. But as a whole, I think we just need to continue to work on our timing. You know what I mean? It's something that we work on every day in practice, and when we're doing routes on air, whether we're doing scale or whether we're doing teamwork, those guys are starting to get a feel for each other and get a feel for their timing and when those plays are going to hit. And I think we're just going to get better and better on that as the season goes on.
Now, last week, Week 2, we had a bye. It's kind of an odd time to have a bye after your first game. Can you talk to us about some of the benefits of having that off week so early in the season?
I think we were able to get healthy. I think we were really able to look at ourselves and see what we were going to be good at and what we needed to improve on. And then we were able to work on those things over the course of a week without having to worry about game planning for an opponent. I think now where we set as we work into Misericordia in Week 3 technically, I think we've made a lot of progress from where we were Week 1, and we're ready to go show that this weekend.
Now let's talk about Week 3. As you mentioned, we're opening conference play against Misericordia. Can you talk about what you've seen in the film from Misericordia and what we need to do to come out successful with a victory?
Yeah, for sure. I think on the defensive side of the ball, they're an attacking style of defense. They put a lot of guys at the ball, and they play very, very fast and confidently. I thought they did a pretty nice job against Keystone when they played last week of shoring up their run game. And then the offensive side of the ball, they have 2 dynamic playmakers in the backfield in Cromwell and Golick. Both those guys are pretty good football players, and they try to get those guys on the edge, and they're physical, and they can run the ball up the middle, so they're going to test you a lot of different ways in the run game. And then they have some solid players on the edge, too, to be able to push the ball down the field. I think we just need to continue to work on ourselves and focus on ourselves, and we'll be ready for this weekend.
Wilkes University football heads to Misericordia to open conference play this Saturday at 1 p.m. Your coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck this week.
Thanks so much.